Dafydd here at ATB Guitars with another edition of our Origin series, and today we're going to be looking at the Gibson Les Paul Custom. Now before we get started, if you like these videos and the other videos we've done, make sure you go check them out and hit the subscribe button, and make sure to click on the bell notification button so you're always up to date with anything we do. So the Les Paul Custom comes about because Gibson wanted to make a second Les Paul model, because car manufacturers have several versions of the same model of car, so they felt they could do the same thing with their guitars. Now, as it's a Les Paul guitar, Les Paul insisted that it be black because, as he says, it's because you can see your hands move and because it goes with your outfit. So he wanted it black to go with the tuxedos that he used to wear on the television show he did with his wife Mary Ford. So as Les Paul insisted it was black, Gibson then decided not to use the maple cap that they were on the gold top, and instead make the whole body out of a single piece of mahogany. This was advantageous because it meant that it didn't need to look as good as it did on the gold top because you wouldn't see the grain, but consequently they then double bound the body so that it would look much fancier and had this sort of sleeker feel to it. The guitar featured a bound ebony fretboard with the narrow low frets that gave it its fretless wonder nickname, block inlays, and a headstock that was bound and featured the diamond inlay that they'd taken from the Super 400, which put it in the same league as those upmarket archtops they were also producing at the time. So electronically, it was sort of followed the same model as the gold top with the volume and tone controls for each pickup. Had a P90 in the bridge, and if you want to know more about P90s, we have done another video about those. And in the neck, it had this new Alnico 5 staple pickup that Seth Lover had designed, mostly influenced by the fact that Les Paul had retrofitted some Dynasonic pickups in his gold top. So this was a reaction to that, and these were adjustable Paul pieces. Again, we go into that in more detail in the P90 video. But this gave the guitar a different sound to the gold top, maybe a more refined sound, which kind of suited the look of the guitar and that kind of exclusive feel that it was trying to provide. So another notable innovation on the Custom was that this was the first guitar to feature an ABR1 bridge, or otherwise known as a tunematic bridge, that had been designed by Ted McCarty for this guitar. This meant that you could accurately adjust the intonation on each string individually, which is something that was obviously not available on a stop tail or on the trapeze tailpiece that had been featured on the gold top. The end result is a very opulent guitar. You've got this mirror black finish married to gold hardware and the binding, and it really fits in with the upmarket archtops they were also producing at the time. So the next phase of the Custom story comes in 1957 with the introduction of the PF pickup, the patent applied for pickup. So in line with the standard, it also gets the new humbucker pickups and ABR1 things. The Custom gets 3 of these PF pickups. Now they're wired in a particular way, where you've got the rhythm pickup is the neck pickup, and the lead pickup is the bridge pickup. And then in the middle position, you get the middle pickup and the bridge pickup wired together, and they're wired out of phase. And in fact, in the catalog, it says they're wired for extreme highs and special effects. So at this point, I have to explain that the example we have in this video has had the magnet swapped over in the middle pickup, so that both pickups aren't out of phase, which is arguably a more usable combination, but unfortunately it's not correct. So this version of the custom was produced between 1957 and 1961, whereupon they changed the design to what we now call the SG. So Gibson changed the shape of the Les Paul in 1961 to what we now refer to as the SG, and as such they created a standard version and they created a custom version, which to all intents and purposes is the same spec as the original, just in a thinner body form. Unfortunately, we don't have a 60s example for demonstration in this video, but we do have an example from 1973, which will demonstrate the out of phase middle position. So the mid-60s saw a resurgence in the popularity of the single-cut Les Paul. Players like Clapton and Jimmy Page and Robert Fripp were using these guitars from the late 50s on these popular records. And so as such, Gibson decided to reissue the single-cut Les Paul in 1968. So they made a gold top version, which we've covered in another video. And they also brought out the custom again. But this time they'd decided to keep the features of the standard and just paint it black. Still with all the sort of fancy binding and things, but you had a maple cap instead of it being a solid piece of mahogany, and it only had 2 humbuckers. But Gibson offered it in various colors. So this led to it becoming its own entity, separate from the standard, in its white version and cherry version and sunburst version. It's the guitar that you see in the hands of people like Randy Rhoads and Mick Ronson had this stripped version, and Frank Zappa had a sunburst custom thing. So you see, that it becomes quite an iconic instrument in its own right. So there you have a potted history of the Les Paul custom. You've been watching ATB Guitars. Make sure to subscribe and to hit the bell notification button. Special thanks to Jimmy Thorne again for his great playing on all the different guitars, and we hope to have him back in again to do some more in the future. Make sure you follow us on all our social media, the links for which you can find below. The links for the guitars you can also find below in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.